What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. Guys, the Ghostbusters go up for order tomorrow, and I'm a little nervous about this one because Ghostbusters for me are that huge nostalgic punch in the chest that I always talk about. So I'm going to be there in line, but which option am I going to try and go for? Obviously, there's the limited items, but maybe some of you don't need all four. Maybe some of you don't even need all three, and there might be a couple options for us still that way as well. I'm going to talk price, what I think of these updated quality photos, and which option I think I'm going to chase down. So guys, if you like the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and let's get into it.
I give you Ben Thomas Showtime. Here we go.
Okay guys, welcome back. So I want to talk about these Ghostbusters because there's several different options that Blitzway is presenting us with, and some are going to really stretch the wallet, and others obviously maybe a little less of an impact. It just depends on how badly you need these characters in your display. Maybe some of you are just passing fans and think they're cool, but are going to let this one go. I can understand that as well. For me, Ghostbusters, like I said in the intro, hugely nostalgic. So for me, I want all four Ghostbusters. Now, the 1.0 versions back in the day, back in 2017, so not quite 10 years, but still getting in that range anyways, are still holding up to this day for a lot of collectors. Now, they were a little overscaled at the time in comparison to the standard 6-scale unit, but bodies have been getting bigger as well, so some of those 1.0s actually may fit displays better now than they actually originally did. But after this many years of paint application technology changes, I was expecting to see quite a vast improvement. And at first, from some of the solicitation photos, I'll be honest, they kind of looked exactly like what we'd seen from 1.0s, maybe with some subtle tweaks and some better paint apps to a certain extent. I really liked what I saw with the Ray, because Ray is one of my favorite characters as well, and I really feel like they capture the actor's likeness in there. The Venkman at first I thought was stronger, but with these solicitation photos that we're seeing, I actually think right now that Ray and Spangler have the best likeness. Pete Venkman and of course Winston I actually think are the weakest of the two, at least from these particular set of photos that we're seeing. But they still 100% to me look like the actors. Like, could they be better? Maybe a little bit. But let's talk a little bit about the options here, because we're going to get this 1500 limited option, which includes all four Ghostbusters and the two different variant head sculpts. Now for me, Winston has always been part of the Ghostbusters. He just has. I know he comes in later in the film, but he's like the everyman. He's the guy that I feel like I am when I watch that film, in that sense of like, I'm no scientist, supernatural guy. I'm just there for the ride too, just like Winston is. And the 4-pack, while it's going to be a huge box,
that's a big Twinky.
Let's be honest, it's still going to be the best value from what I'm seeing here. Because not only do you get those extra expression head sculpts, which to be honest, I think are some of the best character building head sculpts. You know, the cigarette dangling out of Ray's mouth, that's very iconic in Ghostbusters, and same with Pete Venkman about to get slimed as he screams in the hallway, right? Like, such an iconic scene of his. So those head sculpts are superior than the stock ones that actually come with this, in my opinion. But this is also still a $1,200 set with a $100 pre-order amount, which is steep. $1,200 for me here in Canada, obviously that adds up to quite a bit more. But it means that the figures are about $300 each when you break it down, and again, you get the extra accessories. You get the Slimer in there with the hot dogs in his mouth and everything, and those two additional expressive head sculpts. For me, I think that that is better value, because when I look here, I didn't think, or know necessarily at least, that Blitzway was going to give us single pack options. So it does look like if we miss out on the 1500 piece set, or if for some reason you don't want Winston in your display, then you can try to go for the 250 units of the 3-pack, the Doctor's Pack they're calling it, which is about $899, $900. So still pretty freaking steep, let's be honest. And at least for that 3-pack, again, you still get those additional expressions, so the value is still there considering the size of the pack and what you get. The single packs are where you do lose some value because you don't get those additional expressions, which I think is a loss, if I'm being honest, and they're still in at an MSRP here on the website, blitzway.usa, of course, $309. So you're still going to pay at least $300 a figure, if you end up missing the 1500 4-pack or 250 unit Doctor Pack, you're still gonna end up paying $300 a figure. You just get less. So that's a little shitty, but at the same time, for the folks who are like, oh my god, if I miss out on the 1500 pack, like that's it. My dreams are smashed. I will never get these figures. Well, you can still, it looks like. They haven't announced any limited amount of numbers for the single packs. So you can build up your set. You just don't get some of those little extras. So is that okay? I think that's the perfect way to do limited, if I'm being honest. Yes, there's going to be some frustrated folks out there that don't get the pack that they want, and they're going to be frustrated by that. But at least you can still get them, right? You can still get the Ghostbusters either way. And if you have to, you can try and source some of those additional sculpts down the line on secondary. Let's be honest, they'll be a little expensive. You might be able to go the custom route for cheaper down the line, but these figures do look fantastic. If you are a Ghostbusters fan, I think the 4 of them make a great team. I've had other teams in my displays before that I felt like, while I was happy I had them as a team, I could have taken a couple characters out and still feel like the team was represented. For me, the Ghostbusters are all 4 guys here, standing up against Gozer the Gozerian, of course, in this epic showdown of a film from the 80s. I freaking love this. So for me, I'm going to be in line tomorrow for the 4-pack. That's the one I really, really want. But I do feel relieved to find out that there's going to be a couple other options. From these blogger photos, these do look better. As I said, Winston's still a little bit on the could use a little bit of work in my opinion side, and same with Pete Venkman. I'm critical because Bill Murray, especially of that era, was my favorite part of the film in a lot of ways, or at least one of my favorite characters in the film. I shouldn't say that. There's so many great parts of the film, but he was one of my favorite characters easily, and he always kind of reminded me of my stepdad. So like I've seen a lot of Bill Murray movies, and this is close, but not 100%. I do think Ray, though, and Spangler look really good. The tailoring definitely does look improved from the 1.0s. I am curious how they're going to address the scaling issue from the past, with those figures being a little bit bigger at the time. These guys are still showing in at 12 inches or 12.2 inches, so they're a foot tall at least. They're going to be some of the taller figures in your display. In fact, some of my older Hot Toys are definitely shorter than that. So these guys still may look a little on the large size. Is that any kind of deal breaker for you? Also, if you don't have an Ecto 1, does this make you want to chase one down? The original is very hard to find and very expensive, as well as being absolutely freaking massive.
That's a big Twinky.
But the Afterlife version is also no slouch, and while these guys are not from the same film, I think you could probably futz it in a little bit if you wanted to, if you can still find that at a better deal. Now, that might be sacrilegious for some of you. Maybe hardcore Ghostbuster fans are like, no, Ben, you can't put those guys with this vehicle, but it's still pretty cool. It would still be a cool display. So, I don't know. I want to see what you guys have to say. Let me know what pack you guys are going for in the comments down below. If you guys liked the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody, and good luck tomorrow in line.
Wow, what a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because subscribing makes you feel good.
Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
It's gone. It's all gone.